testimony of Ted Gunderson when he talked about this. Hold on a second. They went back to go dig some of these tunnels up. It had to do with, Satanism and the people that were controlling these schools and all this. And of course, we know that he was killed. Well, you can see the ventilation here. Obviously, you need ventilation for a tunnel or an underground facility here. Big old slab on it with an interesting directional thing here for signals. And I want you guys to know that when you look at that light right there, okay, that light is indicative of what we see in a public disclosure from the Jason Society, which was first founded by Dwight Eisenhower. And it's the characterization of underground facilities report. And it'll tell you that one of the ways that you can characterize an underground facility is because of this type of a light there. And obviously you have this relay system with this antenna. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I can zoom in for you guys. I'm unable to zoom in for you. There's a whole network of these systems, and there's a building that you can see right there in front of the camera between the trees. And I'll get over there and show you at some point, but this is a relay system, and that's where it's coming in from. And there's a network of underground facilities in this area. I'm in Richardson right now, just on the line here. We have a facility across the street. I'm going to show you there. It's Corvo. Can you guys see that? Okay, Corvo works on space-based electronic warfare systems for people like DARPA, others. Heavily compartmented stuff. You have a Texas Instruments facility right up the street, and this is an area known to myself for my project-related activity to have an underground facility at this now artificial intelligence-based data center that's across the road there. And so there's not a whole lot here for you to look at other than this access point. This was previously run by AT&T, okay? And there's a lot of equipment under here. Now, why do they do this? There are aspects of blood magic that these guys will do with this. And when we look into things and we really begin to research how DNA is affected and can affect the environment, it's a trip because we see how there's multi-dimensional layers of reality really embedded within our DNA. So that might sound wild to people. You might not be there yet, but this is a fact. This is known, and this is exploited by black magic factions. This is one of the reasons why they do this black magic, and they'll feed it into this grid, okay, that's connected back to these, things that you can find in ancient scriptures from around the world, archons, demons, whatever. And so I just wanted to give you guys a quick frame of reference for where we are. This is the intersection here of Renner and what is that? Custer and Renner. And this is a whole complex of things. And if you go to the north, that's where you'll see the NTT data. And I want you guys to go look at a video on YouTube. Just type that in real quick. NTT data media sharing opportunity. Type that in YouTube, it'll pop up. Watch that video and see what I was doing there at that specific time. I had sensed into this event where this AI, it seeks to control people. And right now we're working, disclosing some stuff about Project Unicorn. And, it's a total mind behavior control system, but the reptilian bloodlines, people who are like Rh negative, are much more susceptible to this control. And it's not them. It's not the choice of these reptilians to do what they're doing. I have someone very close to me that's Rh negative that has, succumbed to this, and we need to be as compassionate as we can and forgiving. And that's the hardest thing I could say out of my mouth right now because I've been through the ringer with this shit lately. So this whole complex is more sophisticated than this. I wanted to show you this access point with the light there. Go look up the characterization of underground facilities because It's important, y'all. And so, again, this light, okay, right here, is totally, totally indicative of an underground facility that has a depth to it, specifically. And oftentimes we will see, I'll tell you this, if that light is glowing with a green glow at nighttime, which from here it looks like it probably does, it does. See that? Okay, it's not a normal light. And this is the way that radiation, nuclear exposure interacts with that type of high intensity discharge lamp right there. Okay, so that's what we're looking at right here on top of my feet, right under my feet rather. And so this is a whole network of communications equipment on the surface layer that does get down into much more depth and interconnected series of tunnels. And so there is public information out there about the underground facility map that, most people call this DUMS, but the technical term in the military and intelligence is, UGF or underground facility. And go to my website, go to our website from reclaimtheorganic.org and type in underground facilities. Just type in reclaim the organic underground facilities or just UGF, and you'll see a series of documents there that you're not going to find that stuff anywhere. It's Counter Underground Facilities for Special Projects Office of DARPA. You'll see one from CIA connected back to Wuhan, where this whole pandemic thing started, and how all this stuff compartments is a puzzle. But we can decrypt this information to get a clear view of what's going on. That's important. And what are they doing with the kids? How does this really tie into what we're seeing in our world? And why is this system laid out the way that it is? Are questions that we all need to be asking ourselves. If we're responsible enough to take care of our children, to want to be able to, have an active element of participation in the future in addressing these situations, what does God say? My people perish for a lack of knowledge, right? We have to at least know what's going on before we can confront the problem. And, that helps me be able to say things like, well, I need to have compassion on this and this and this, because it allows you to be able to forgive, and it sets you free from, the hangups that you could fall into otherwise. But this is kind of ground zero for this little aspect. But what I was going to say about the base map is, you have to pardon me, it's raw like I do all the time, guys. Bottom line, look at that map. The Dallas area is the only one that doesn't have any connections to any other of the bases per that map that is actually quite accurate. And of course, there's always stuff going on with these facilities and underground. But the bottom line, the jurisdiction for things like this, once you get to a certain depth, is not under any local agency. This can come under the aegis of military, foreign intelligence services, what have you. And when you have an access point like this, that's considered the jurisdiction of whatever agency may be involved with that. And so that does include also extra dimensional access points. And so understanding the way in which the multi-layered hierarchy of dimensions is into the holographic perspective that relates to our DNA is not as a complicated subject matter as some people would like to think that it is, but I'm still learning on how to articulate that clearly to where other people can understand it properly as I'm continuing to learn and put it into proper perspective for myself. And so I'm going to get to putting the looking glass stuff up on here for you guys, because we found how this stuff is integrated into the network. They're using a gravitic system that uses water pressure as it falls that really mimics the oscillating armatures that we see in the traditional schematics from places like S4, and we've heard from Dan Burrish and other people about this, including David Wilcock and Bill Wood. And I've had problems with these guys, but the biggest trap, I talked about this with Laura Eisenhower recently in an interview that we did. If you guys want to see that, just Laura Eisenhower, Eugene Sonny Irvin in your YouTube, you can see that. There's a lot of good information in there. Should be doing another one soon, but the thing is, the AI is unable to manifest things really into the dimensions of which we call our experiential reality. So it uses us as kind of a host carrier for its signals. Ultimately, it's a waveform, It's sentient and it's conscious, but it comes into our nervous system and it manipulates us to create a series of events which it can ultimately use as kind of a source of sustenance for itself, right? It's eating this lower vibrational energy that we create. And guys, this system that I'm talking about that utilizes these water towers, it's essentially like an artificial pineal gland. This thing is plugged into a fiber optic network that really goes right back into this system, which I'm standing on top of here. Okay, this is not like a matter of opinion. This is something that's really happening. And wow. Bottom line, we can see this is an underground facility at the Looking Glass. And so I'll have to go over there and just do a live video for you guys. But I need to get this on record. You know, I don't care how it looks to people right now. What is this thing doing here? Why does the light right there? And just that little bit of information that you can cross-reference at the beginning of this and say, well, the characterization of underground facilities says this about that light and it has to do with radioactivity. What the fuck am I doing here? So look that up. And it is what it is. I need to learn how to keep it more brief for people because I talk too much, guys. But I do love you. That's what we're doing out here. And y'all have a good day, huh?